Excellent. So what we will be doing today is we will be looking at math puzzles and certain logic puzzles. These have been puzzles that I've put together based on a couple of websites and books. These are very standard puzzles. What I want to do is, as we go through this puzzle, I also want to throw some variations and spins so that we can actually kind of answer the puzzles and also understand how we are solving them and just not look at it blindly. All right? So as we go through this, I'm actually looking at people helping solve these puzzles, and I want you to explain why and how, and then I'll be asking you specific questions. So if you have seen the question before and you know the answer from before, that's fine too, as long as you can explain how the solution is going on. All right? So let's jump into the first one, which is like a pretty standard puzzle that I've seen multiple times, and I don't know why, but it actually is almost always with the number 2. So you're given a number n, and your goal is to actually count the number of times you write the number 2 if you were to write all numbers between 0 and n, inclusive of both. So if n is 8, then you will be writing 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And that would essentially mean that the number 2 was written how many times? Just once?
Mm-hmm.
But if you were to write 24, if n was 24, then the answer is actually 8, because you would have written a 2, a 12, a 20, a 21, 22, 23, and 24. Please note that 22, you had to write 2 2s to write 22. That's why it's 8. Okay, even though you've written 7 numbers that contain 2, 22 contains 2 2s, so you're actually saying how many times does the digit 2 appear? Twice. So that's total of 8 times. So how would you generalize this answer? How would you compute this? Any volunteers?
Yeah, Vivek, I'm not sure if that's the solution, but I was thinking about it today. And this is Achint here, by the way. So
I
was thinking like from the left, examining each digit, and if it's greater than 2, less than 2, or equal to 2, there will be different criteria for each. So let's say, I really don't think that's the solution, but that's what I was thinking. So if the first digit is greater than or equal to 2, we have obviously 1, 2. And if it's less than 2, then it's 0. And for the next digit, when we go to the next digit, if it's greater than 2, then we will have 10 plus digit 2.
So let me take an example and can you walk me through it? I'm on the Etherpad.
Yeah.
So let's say I have 1732 as the example.
Yeah.
So what do you do?
So what I'm doing, I'm starting from the left, and so for you it is 2, so which is equal to 2. So
starting from the right, you mean? You're starting from the right.
Yeah. Sorry, from the right. Yeah.
There's 1, 2.
Yeah. So 1, 2. So my count is 1.
Okay.
And then I go to the next digit, which is 3. And this is greater than 2. So I will have 10 plus digit 2, which is 3. So my count will get added by that.
Are you sure?
No, I think so.
Why don't we just take the individual digits and see if each of them are 2 and just put it into account?
But then, one second, Geek. So, Sirisha, I think that's a good question, good suggestion. But the problem is that you will have to enumerate all numbers from 1 to 1732, and then you have to count the number of 2s in each one of them and keep adding. That's like a brute force way of doing it, right? We are trying to see if there is a smarter way to do that.
Yeah.
This
is Suresh.
Yeah.
Hi, Vivek. I have some idea.
So 1 second. Let's. I just want
I think Vivek.
Navneet to go.
I think that is true. But I am thinking.
Achint, you're too noisy.
Oh, okay. I don't know what happened. Let me disconnect. I tried to mute me. It's not me. It's somebody else.
Actually, it was not you. It was actually somebody else. So I
Yeah,
muted
it was
the
somebody
other
else.
person. Go on.
So I think what I was talking about, if it's let's say 3 is greater than 2, so because I have the whole series of 20, so that's like 10 2s extras.
Mm-hmm.
It's 9 2s extra because you've got 20 through 29.
29. But that's 10, right? 2 0, 2 1, 2 2. That's actually 10 more.
Yeah, but up till 100 there are only 22s, right?
Yeah, for 100 there are 22s actually.
For 100 there are 22s. How do you know that?
20. So I
like from 20 to 29 there are 11 twos,
10.
and then 9 more from
Exactly.
Okay.
That way,
so,
so we will divide.
Yeah, this can be an easy sort of, I don't know what math formula it would be, but this is an easy math formula because every time you go from 2 digits to 3 digits, you add 10 more 2s, right? Because as soon as you go to the 200 series,
That would be 10 to the power 3, 10 to the power 4 based on the number of digits you have, and then you will examine the rest.
So
let's divide by 100.
So let's go with it, right? So how many 2s are there in up to 10?
1.
1, 2.
Okay. How many 2s are there in 100 up to 100?
20.
How many 2s are there in the 10s place, and how many 2s are there in the 100s place? In the 1s place?
10 in one's place and 10 in 10's place.
Okay. What about 1,000?
Same thing, I think.
So you will have 200 in between. The whole 200 series will have to be considered.
No,
correct.
That's why what will happen.
So for 1,000 in the units place, again we'll end up with 10. In the tens place.
No, hang on. Unit place is not 10. The unit place, how do you actually end up with 2 in the units place? It's XX2, right?
Right.
How many combinations of XX are possible? From 00 through 99.
Right.
So how many times units can be 2?
100 times.
100.
Okay.
20.
What about how many times the tens place can be 100? 2. It's a form 2x2, right?
It's still going to be 0 to 0, 0 to
10 like 10.
0 to 0, 9 to 9.
100.
Right. And then
And how many times can it be first?
200 actually. Yeah.
No, only 100.
Vivek,
Just the tens.
Right.
The 2, 2, 2, 3 times.
Sorry, Supriya, I couldn't hear you. Can you, Vishnu, you're probably a little noisy. Can you mute yourself? All right, go ahead, Supriya.
I'm saying, Vivek, that if we keep it as 100, 100, 100, aren't we counting the 222 combination 3 times?
And yes, we will, because it's actually 3 2s, right?
Yeah, so we have to
It is 3
subtract that.
2s. No, we don't have to, because if you look at the example that is given,
we
22 is counted 2 times.
Oh, okay. Right. Okay,
Note each digit of 2 is counted separately. So that's why we don't have to subtract those. Okay.
Right,
if we have to, then that's a different story. So how many between 1,000? So far with me?
300. Yep.
So what about 10,000?
1,000.
If it follows the same pattern, it should be 4,000.
It is 4,000 and so on, right?
Right.
4,000, 50,000, 6 lakhs or whatever, 600,000 and so on, right? That's how it will work. Now, so this we understand, right? So how do you deal with 1732? How many 2s in 1732?
That'll be 1,000. We have to take how many 2s are there in 1,000, then in 700, then in 30, and then 2, right? As in.
Correct. Big 700. That is correct. 30, and then 2, right? So you're right. So up to 1,000 it is
300.
300.
For 700, what do you do?
140.
How do you know that? It's not 140, but how do you know that?
Actually, I just multiply
Not
by
140. No, it is not 140 because it is 0 to 100.
Yeah, because in between
Then it's
200 series will come, so that will add 100 more.
We can
it's 0 to 99, 100 to 199, then 200 to 299, 300 to 399, 400 to 499, 500 to 599, 600 to 699. Right, that's what we want, right? 700 doesn't count anyways. So this is 20. This is 20.
Yeah.
This is not 20. This is 20. This is 20. This is 20. Not this is 20. These are all 20. But this guy is actually 20 plus another 100, right?
That's what I was saying. Every digit you have to add 10 to the power. So like if it's for the second digit is 10, for the next digit is 10 to the power 2. If you have one more, then it will be 10 to the power 3 based on greater than or less than or equal to.
So if it's equal, then
if it's equal, then you add the 10 to the power 2 or 10 to the
no,
power
the
3.
problem is that if it had been like 1, 2, 3, 2, right? Then you're only left with 32. So then the numbers the question is different.
Sorry, I'm wrong there. So if it's greater than 2, then you definitely add 10 to the power 2. But if it's equal to 2, then you take the number up to digit 2, which is 32 in this case, right? And then you add 1 to it for the extra 1 there, extra 2 there, and then you examine the second digit and add. It's a little bit complicated, but I kind of made it. I'll go.
So can folks actually take a few minutes to offline compute the number of 2's in 1, 2, 3, 2? This is the question that I have. Calculate it, do it on a piece of paper, and then we'll take like 2 minutes to do that, and then we'll get back. Okay?
Okay, that's better. Thank you. Yeah.
Let's do that. Let's do that, and then we'll come back with the number. I'm going to give folks 2 minutes to do that. Let's get to that, okay? Now that we know the logic and algorithm, so let's figure it out.
Okay.
Somebody's noisy. Can you please go on mute? Thank you.
Recording has started.
$315.
Okay, that's one answer. Is there anybody else who got 315?
I got 332.
Okay, we have another number 332. Anybody else with a different answer?
Sorry, I'm wrong. It's not 332. I think I made a mistake.
I'm not sure how you. I'm actually questioning how you got.
I think I made a mistake on 232. So yeah, mine is not right. You can get it up 332.
315 is also on the lower side. I don't know how you got that. So
Realizing it's a little low. One second.
Yeah, it is little low.
Okay, my new number is 355. Add another 40 to that.
357?
355.
355, huh? Okay. Okay, so we'll anybody else with another answer?
freeconferencecall.com.
377.
377, huh? Okay. 334. So we got 385, we got 334, we got 377. Okay.
I wouldn't be surprised if it were 356, but I'm sticking with the 355 for now.
Then I got 5, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm leaning to
none of you got the answer that I got, so I don't know what that means.
That means none of us probably understood the process.
I got 450.
What about 380? 380, huh?
455.
455. Awesome. Okay,
Right.
so let's walk through it one by one. So why don't I pick someone who said 455? Why don't you walk me through your logic?
I think this is Suresh.
Yeah,
I'm
Suresh.
just I don't know whether it is correct or not.
Go on.
Is it correct or what? So
No, it is not the number I got. So nobody got the number I got. So maybe I'm wrong.
You
Let's
get
go.
376?
Okay, 376 is another one that we have, but so far none of you have gotten each other's answer. So it's fun. All right. That's good. So like 8 of us with 9 different answers. I like it. Go, Suresh, explain.
I have also one answer.
Go on.
373.
373. Why don't we start with you, Naveen, then go.
Okay.
Okay. So 0
Now,
to
please,
1000
explain.
is 300. Yeah, 0 to 1000
Hang
is
on,
300.
So 300 from 0 to 1000. Go on.
And 0 to 99 is 20.
20 for 0 to 99. Okay.
Okay, and then 100 to 199 is 20.
20 for 100 to 199. Okay.
And then 33. Oh, actually it should be 34. Sorry.
200, why is the 200 not being considered?
So 200 to 232 is 34.
No, 200 to, no, it's not 34, right? Let's do one at a time. So there are like the hundreds place, there are 33 zeros in the twos in the hundreds place, right?
Yes. And one is
There's no one, there's more.
oh,
there is actually then plus
22.
0 to 32, right?
Plus
Yeah.
0 to 30.
So 0 to 32 is essentially 0 to 10 has one more.
Yeah.
13 it.
Okay. Then one more for 10 to 19.
20
Yeah.
19.
Okay. Then 11 more for 20
22
to 29. And then one more
32.
for the 32. That's it, right?
Yep.
So that is 300 plus 20 plus 20 plus 33 plus 1 plus 1 plus 11 plus 1, which is 387, which is not the answer that anybody got.
Yep.
So,
I want 10. I missed 10. Okay. 377, 387. Okay.
yeah, and that's not what I got as well, by the way, just FYI, full disclosure.
It requires
So
a lot
I had-
of patience.
No, actually, I missed an addition. That's why. Actually, I had it. So I got 357. That's because I missed the 32. I had written the 32 down, but when I was totaling it up, 389 is what I got. And I got 389 because I made another mistake. So the 0 to 10, right, I was actually, for whatever reason, I just said there was 1, 2. I actually wrote 2 instead. I know the mistakes I made. Go on.
Vivek, what is that 33 equal to 2 in hundreds place?
Because there are 33 twos between 200 to 232, right? We need to, between 200 to 232,
Right.
there are 32 twos in the hundredths place.
Oh, okay, got it.
So PS, we just explained that the logic of 100, the 1000 equal to 300 is explained in line 22.
Right.
We covered that earlier.
So
Okay.
Vivek, a question, like when this kind of question comes in an interview, right? Are they looking for, like, what skill are they looking for? Because this is not for math, sort of, right? It is sort of counting and, as I said, patience.
Correct. So I think I don't know is basically the short answer. I don't know why people ask, but these questions are asked. And my goal here is to actually introduce you to kind of a different way of thinking and breaking it down and then try to recompose the thing. So if you, again, what we are seeing here is like every one of us, including me, we got it wrong in different ways. And when we're actually totaling things up, in the speed of doing things, we're actually making silly mistakes. So it's all about getting that going. That's how I see it.
There is a mathematical or like a programmatic way to solve this, right? It's just not.
Which is brute force
here. So I'm trying to write it down, but I think you can write it mathematically and go one by, maybe I can put it on Etherpad. Just 1 second.
Yeah, please put it on the Etherpad if you have a way of doing that, because I think you can go with like a for loop of 0.1732 or whatever 1232, and then you can actually count the 2. Right? So you can do that, but then that is the brute force way of doing it, and any other clever way of doing it would actually be our way of what we just did. And this intention of this is actually more to figure out how, given like a set of things to accomplish, can you logically break it down, think through it, and solve it by paying attention to detail. All of us failed in different forms. I noticed the mistakes I made. Yeah, Sri, I'm able to hear you. Just 1 second. Let me complete this, and then I'll let you speak. So the mistake that I made was when I was computing this, I said 0 to 10 has 1, 2, and I just added 2 instead, and that kind of messed with my numbers. I was off by 3 because of that, and the other thing was that I actually forgot to add this 33 in when I was trying to do the final addition. I missed this 33. So those are 2 mistakes I made, which I think I'm kicking myself. If I had a piece of paper or a whiteboard, I would have probably written it properly aligned. It's just that I didn't align it properly in my message. So I think it's just that we need to be a little bit more diligent and methodical when it comes to these questions. I mean, there's really no major call out here. So let's get to the next question. I know we've spent a lot of time. We've got 10 questions to go through, and the other questions are more fun. So is there anybody else who wants to spend a little bit more time here?
I do. I was just trying to come up with this formulation of doing this.
It's what you're doing is like an expansion of the 2 lines I just wrote, right? Which is you're counting digit by digit and trying to figure out if it's there, and if it's a 2, then you're just adding to the count, right? That is a brute force way of doing it, and if I were to be asking you this question, I would actually go back and say, all right, how can you accomplish this in less than that time? And theoretically, you should be able to accomplish this in less time, because you should be able to look at the digits. If you should be able to take the same algorithm that we have. If the number is between 0 and 10, then you should be able to. Give me 1 second. I think my screen crashed. Just 1 second.
When these questions are posed in an interview, the fact that if you've been able to break it down into simpler, tasks, as in, you've been able to get the logic, but you've probably made some mistakes adding or figuring out some of the things which you could have definitely figured out eventually. So will the end result of not getting the correct answer also matter a lot, or how do you think they just generally judge in an interview? Or
usually it's not, the end result does not matter, but
if you're not accurate, like we came up with different answers, but we knew what to do, but we still kind of counted wrong or missed certain things, and
right.
That's what I was trying to.
Yep. So I think So it's usually what happens is in such scenarios, I will actually walk with you to debug what your problem was and understand why you made the mistake and how you got it wrong. And then that's what we did, right? We just walked through that, and then we figured out what the issue was. And I would actually specifically point out, like, what about this? What about that? And I'm trying to figure out if you're able to get to the answer yourself. So I think it'll end up being that. And if you are simply blind to logic, then we have a different problem. But normally that should be fine. I mean, normally we should be able to know, we should be able to get to what we were thinking of.
I couldn't understand, like, sorry, how you got like 300 views per 1,000.
Okay, so can someone else actually explain the reason why it's like 1,000 is 300? Go, this is your opportunity, come on. Anybody?
So, like, first 0 to 99, we have 20, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then from 100 to 199, again we have 20.
Yes, I can understand, like what,
okay.
The 20
no,
is...
Okay, but from 200 to 299, okay, we have 20 plus 100.
Yeah.
Okay, and now from 300 to 399 we have 20, 20, 20. So you can count up to. So you have 10 times 20 plus 100, which is 300.
Yes. 10 times 20. Okay.
Yeah. While that goes to answer, I would like to explain it in a slightly different way, if that's okay.
Go on, Vishnu.
Right. So when we are saying that within 0 to 1,000 it is 300, I think the way we arrived at it initially is a much better way, as in we basically have a 3-digit number with 2 which can come in the units place or in the tens place or in the hundreds place. So it's more like a permutation problem wherein you have XX2 which can occur in 100 different ways. We have X2 X format which can occur in 100 different ways, and we have 2 XX kind of numbers which can occur in 100 different ways. So between 0 and 999 there are basically 300 different 2s which can occur.
Okay,
does that make sense? This is another way of doing it.
This same thing we can actually extrapolate to how many other digits we are looking at, because this works for 0 to 999. It can also work from 0 to 10 nines.
Or any number of nines, that's correct. Yeah, it's easily extendable.
This one is a much more, extendable kind of logic that we can follow for these kind of things.
Yeah. I mean, even the other logic actually works roughly the same way. I mean, if you were to go with the same logic, right? I mean, if you want to extend it to 4 nines, I think we will say that 0 to 3 nines is 300. We know that. And then we will do 300, 300, 300, 300 10 times, so that's 3,000 plus 1 more 1,000, that's 4,000. I mean, it's the same thing whichever way you dice it, but whatever works for you. I mean, I'm just like, this is just a way of extending it. Does that make sense, PS?
Okay.
Got it.
Thanks.
All right, so let's move to the next problem. I know we spent a lot more time on the first one than I was originally thinking, but it's good. So this one is, again, I have no idea. I've never been to China, so I don't know if they actually consider 4 as unlucky, but I have been told that in China, the number 4 is actually considered unlucky, and they don't like to use it. Just like how certain floors don't have, certain buildings don't have the 13th floor in US and a couple of other cultures. In China, they don't have the number 4 at all. So which means that they have floor number 1, floor number 2, floor number 3, and the floor that's immediately above that is 5. And 6 and 7 and so on. They have 13th floor, but they don't have a 14th floor because they don't like the number 4. So that's 15 and so on, 23, then 25, 33 and 35. The interesting part is that after 39, they don't have anything that's in the 40s, and they directly jump to 50. Okay? So what is given to you is that you're trying to find out what is actually floor, which is if you're actually in a particular floor which reads 1, 2, 3, 9. Can you tell me the real floor number? Like how many stories up are you in real number? So what we're trying to do is we're trying to write a translation function between the China floor numbers to actual floor numbers and vice versa.
Right.
So question makes sense?
It's essentially the same problem as before, just that we find the number of 4s between 0 and 1 and 1, 2, 3, 9, and then subtract it from 1239.
Like one thing that will be different little bit, that there we will counting twice for 20s or 200s. Here we will not.
Good catch. Good catch. 22 is gone. Like 44 is gone, but does not mean that that's 2 floors less, right?
Right.
So good catch.
Good one.
Is there anybody who actually has like any questions with the problem statement? All right, let's go. Any solution thoughts?
Yeah, my thought is similar to what the first thought was. Like, use the same case as count the number of 4s and then subtract it from 1, 2, 3, 9.
That won't work because of doubles and triples.
And triples, yes.
The 444 it actually counts as 1 floor, which was skipped, and not 3 floors. So that won't work. So what else? What other logic do we have?
We should probably rethink on how we are counting the numbers between the ranges. The previously discussed logic was basically look at all combinations. So if we are looking at XX2, we said there are 100 different ways, but the way we have to count it is we should not really look at 2 in the hundreds and the tens place as well. So,
okay, so let's go. I'm just going. C1 is R1, correct? C1 is Chinese floor 1 is real floor 1. C3 is R3. C5 is R4. So far with me?
Yeah.
Like C5 is actually, if you see 5 written on the floor number, that actually represents real floor 4. What is C10?
it will be R9.
It's R9, okay. What is C13?
12.
R12. C15?
13.
Okay.
So if you're looking at 23 will be 21, 24 will be 22, 25 will be 22.
Okay. Okay.
Right.
25 is R22, which is actually minus 3.
3.
Okay. Okay. What is C34? 35?
Minus 4, so 31.
It will be 31.
Okay. I'm just following along. This may not be the most effective or efficient way to do it, but I'm just like following along. Okay. What is C39?
Minus 4, 35.
Okay. Crap.
Add 11 to that.
10, not 11, right?
Oh yeah, 10, you're right. 14. Or 14.
Okay.
Minus
39. Is this getting us anywhere?
No, pretty slow. Let's do. So.
See, like even like 10th places, you are skipping 10, right? And if it's 100th place, you will skip 100.
Yeah, but how do you know like what you're doing? Like you're skipping for every 10, you're skipping 1. It's not that simple. Let me actually change the question a little bit to see if you can.
So
just in the interest of time
I
as
have
well.
an idea. I think this is
go ahead,
a little bit easier. Sandeep here. I was thinking
Sandeep.
we can convert the whole system to base 9. And
so hang in there for a second, Sandeep. All right. Okay. So let me ask you a different question. Let's assume that we are in a particular society that actually considers every number like between 2 and 9 as unlucky. 2 is unlucky, 3 is unlucky, 4 is unlucky, 5 is unlucky. The only digits allowed are 0 and 1. So what do you think is C0? Is that R0?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to call it X, right? So X0 is R0. What is X1?
R1.
Okay. What is X? X2 is not possible. What's the next thing after X1?
X3.
10.
X1, 0,
R2.
Which is what?
R2.
What is the next floor?
1, 1.
X1, 1.
R3.
Does it look familiar?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It looks
What is
binary.
Base
Binary,
2
base 9.
Why is it binary?
It just have 2 digits, so now it has like.
So that's exactly what Sandeep was saying. What Sandeep is saying is the first thing. Let's ignore that the Chinese floor was 4 was inauspicious. Let's assume that 8 and 9 were the inauspicious digits of a different system. Okay, I'm going to call it O. Surprise. Okay, so O0 is O0 or R0. O7 is R7. What's the next thing after O7?
070.
No,
10.
10.
Oh, 10. Yeah, sorry, yeah, 10.
That's R8. Okay. What is this? Right?
Yeah. X basically.
And it is octal. The left thing is octal, right? Octal of 10 is actually real number 18, decimal 18. Decimal 8. Octal 17 is decimal. So essentially, if we have this system where we are looking at like unique digits possible on the left hand side, whatever your number system is, if there are 8 unique digits, which is essentially 0 to 7 in this case, then that system is octal. If there are only 2 possible digits, 0 and 1, then it is binary. If there are 9 possible digits, let's assume it's 0 to 8, right? Then it's actually a 9-base system. And that's about it. But the only difference is that instead of your numbers being 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, you're actually looking at 0, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, and that's about it. It's just so what it means is that you just have to transform the numbers like 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 to one less, and you're done. So essentially, what you do is C1239 or 1239 actually translates to a 9-base system. I'm going to call it base 9. So 1238, which is essentially equal to 1 times 9 power 3 plus 2 times 9 power 2 plus 3 times 9 power 1 plus 8. And you're done. That is the answer. That makes sense? Which is 926.
I got the answer and I didn't say anything. I should have.
Yep, that's okay. So does that make sense? I know. Did you use a different algorithm, Pamela?
I basically said skipping 4s makes your number base 9, and I did exactly. I said this is a base 9 number, and I didn't say anything because I thought I was wrong. I'm laughing at myself, but this is ridiculous.
Yeah, but it's interesting, right? I mean, that's what it is. So fantastic point, Sandeep. I know I kind of took it away from you. I know this is what you were saying, but I just thought walking people through the binary and the octal and then the 9-base system kind of makes it more easy to understand. So that's why I walked that. But good job, both Pamela and Sandeep. Anybody else actually picked this as a 9-base system? Just curious.
Nope.
Anyway, it's hard, and I don't think I expect people to make that connection immediately after they see it. But that's how this question works. It's actually pretty simple. And yeah, go ahead.
You said 1, 2, 3, 8 because it has only 9 base. Is it because it's 9 base?
No. The 9 base actually, the problem with the Chinese system is that it's just symbols that you're using, right? Let's assume that instead of 0 to 9, you actually use the letters like A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, and I, right? Because you need 9 digits. That's what it is. The problem is that unfortunately the Chinese number 9 is actually representing the 8th digit, right? It's actually the digit 8 that it's representing.
Anything greater than 4 will be 1 less.
We'll have to reduce it. That is correct. So we have to. So that's why for a C number 1239. So if it had been like C like 7765, right? Then we would have to translate it to N6654, and then do the 9-base multiplication. Does that make sense?
A number like C 12567.
12567. Can someone help me with how does it look in N? What is the first digit?
1, 2.
So
1, 2. Go ahead, PS. Go ahead, PS. 1, 2.
4, 5, 6.
4, 5, 6.
4, 5, 6. That's what it will look like. Does that make sense? And that will represent essentially 1 9 power, what is that? 5, right? 9 power 5 plus 2 times
4, right?
Power 4.
I think 9
Oh,
power.
I switched, sorry. 4, 3, and then 4 times 9 square plus 5 times 9 power 1 plus 6, which is 532, 358.
That is wrong. That is wrong.
What did I miss?
You have 4 power 9 square. 9 into 2. That has to be 4 into 9 square.
Yeah, it is 4 into 9 square. I did 4 into 9 square. What did I miss?
The way you have written it, it says 4 power 9
It's just
into
the notation, Vivek. It's just 4.
Ouch. Ouch. No wonder.
Yeah.
I just popped that in a calculator.
Into the calculator, it will calculate it differently.
Yep, it's 8388, of course.
Yeah.
It can't be that big. Dang it.
No, it can't be bigger than the number we started with.
Yes, my miss entirely. I'm like, what did I miss? Thank you. That's a good catch. So it's 8,388. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Awesome.
So,
All right, moving on to... Go ahead, Sirisha.
So Chinese, that number is actually a different base system, right? Again, we have to translate it.
No. It is. This is a real number thing. So essentially, what the way this works is, just to kind of go over it quickly, is that the problem that we have is that the Chinese base is actually missing the letter 4. If it had been missing the digit 9, then it's a 9-base system which has numbers from 0 to 8, which makes sense, right? But then the problem is that since Chinese number is actually missing 4, what we need to do is we need to map the 9-base system actually has this and Chinese. So if you look at line 115 and 116, we need to take a 0 of Chinese and convert it to a 1 of N system. 1 of Chinese and convert it to 1, which means you don't change 0, 1, 2, and 3. But 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, you have to reduce it by 1 so that you can get it to a 9-based system. So C is also a 9-based system, but just that the digits don't mean the same thing. Actual letter 5 or the image 5 means the 4th character, right? Does that make sense?
Not exactly base. The
Chinese system is base 9, but where the glyphs or the images that represent every digit are 0, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. So essentially what you'll have to do is that if you were to just simply adopt it, what you'll actually do is you would say that it's 1 times 9 power 4 because 1 happens to be the first place value in the place value system, and 2 happens to be the second in the place value system, and then for the third one, 5. What is the ordinal location of 5 in that system? 5 happens in the 4th location, right? Sirisha?
Yeah, I'm listening.
So it will be 4 times 9 power 2. So if you ignoring this n-based conversion, right? The n conversion is easy for most of us to understand, but if you want to look at it another way, the ordinal position of 1 is 1. The ordinal position of 2 is 2. The ordinal position of 5 is actually 4. That's why it's 4 times 9 power 2. And the ordinal position of 6 is actually 5.
Okay.
Right? And so on. And that's why it's the same value. So you can either convert it to an n-based system or you can convert it, you can just do using ordinal position. Either ways work. Okay?
Okay.
Vivek, if in some system the number, instead of 4, if it was 0, that was not to be considered, how will that be? I mean.
Okay, so let us assume that we have like a Greek system where they hate the digit 0. Okay, so we only have numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. How would that convert to? So if we have that system and we have Greek 1, 7, 6, right? Can someone explain what that will be in real terms? Any volunteers?
Yeah, it will be 67, 067, because you move everything by 1 to the left.
Is it? Okay.
Correct. So this is actually N. No, it's actually N67, right?
Okay.
You just don't have 0. So
Right.
which is not 67, which is actually 6 times 9 plus 7.
Right.
Oh, not 7, sorry. 5. That's 59. Is that not?
Mm-hmm.
So if two numbers need to be eliminated, for example, 0 and 4, then we need to subtract two numbers, right?
Okay, so let's assume that we have a Z number system where we're eliminating 0 and 4, okay?
Yeah, so we need to subtract.
Now what do you do?
From G 176.
Okay, so now we say Z 1, no, let's not once, let's say 276, okay? I want 276, what is that?
Okay. We need to subtract 2.
An octal, because
1 times 8 to power 2.
So that's what this means, okay?
Right.
So what does 2 translate to?
1.
What is the ordinal location of 2? That's 1.
Okay.
Okay, and how many digits are there? That's actually 8. So that's what this is. Plus 7. What is the ordinal position of 7? That's 5.
Okay.
What is the ordinal position of 6? That's 4. Correct?
Yeah.
And that is 108. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
So we need to subtract based on the position of that digit, right?
Correct. And the ordinal position makes, I think that's the easy way of actually figuring out what should it be translated with. I mean, imagine instead of like this, right, if they actually used like hieroglyphs or something.
Yeah.
Right? Each digit was represented as separate like value. You could just use the same thing, whether it's hexadecimal or it can actually be even more than 10 digits. If you had a system where they were using 12 unique letters to represent the 12 numbers 0 to 11, and then 12 would be like, essentially 10 in that case, right? So they may do that, and that's actually a 12-base system. So you can actually apply this to any base system, right? Any more concerns? Any more questions?
Yeah,
Achin?
I have a question. So Vivek, the one that we removed the 0 from, that somehow doesn't seem right to me. Like the logic that you did earlier looks okay to me, correct to me. But when we move to somebody pointed out removing 0, that somehow doesn't match for me at least. The formula is okay, but if I think logically, it doesn't somehow match. So let's say if we had a Greek number 20. Then it will be.
You can't have 20, right? Because 0 is not there.
Oh, so let's say 21. Yeah, 21.
Okay,
yeah.
if you had 21, that is actually the 10th floor by default, right? Is it not?
According to the formula.
Not 10th, but it's actually the 9th floor. The reason why is that it's the 9th floor because the first floor you have in Greek is 11. Correct? The first floor. 11 would be one first floor, right? Or 0th floor, essentially. Sorry.
I didn't get that part. I'm sorry.
11 would be the 0th floor. The from a base system standpoint, what would represent 0?
Why 1 will not be 0? 0th
Sorry.
floor. Yeah. Okay.
I missed. Sorry, you're right. 1 would be 1 would. Okay, 0 is a bad example because unfortunately you'll have to figure out 0, 1, 0 is a bad example. We shouldn't eliminate 0.
It doesn't match with the formula. The formula
0 is a bad example. You're right. I think I should have made that clear. 0. Don't remove 0 because by definition, right? Then the number of digits become. I mean, you have to assume the number of digits in that case. It just becomes ugly. Okay. Because by definition, 1 is the same as 0, 1, right? That's how we see things. So let's not eliminate 0. Let's use a different example, and then I think the rest of it holds good. We have lots of questions, so I think I want to move on, and the other questions are more interesting as well. So this one's actually another classic question that's asked, and I've actually seen it asked in so many different interviews that I'm surprised people don't get it right quickly. If you in an analog clock, what is the time? What is the angle between the clock when it's 3:15?
It's 0 degrees.
It's not 0.
7.5.
It is not 0, correct?
It's not, no.
Why is it not 0?
By 15 minutes, the minute hand would have the hour hand would have gone a little ahead by those 15 minutes. So you'll have to calculate that portion.
Right.
Offset. Yeah.
See, do you see that?
Yeah.
That's the problem. Right? It's not exactly 0. It's a little more.
2.5.
7.5, right?
2.5.
Is it in what units? Degrees?
7.5 degrees.
7.5.
No, I think it's 10.
Anybody else with a different answer?
Yeah. If a quarter is around 90 degrees, 90 degrees divided by each 1 hour is 30. So 30.
Okay.
So each
So what you're saying is that each of this between 3 and 4, it's actually 30, right?
30, yeah. 30 divided by
5.
15.
Why 5?
So
30 degrees represents 60 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
30 degrees.
Yeah. 50,
So 1 minute represents?
Okay. So
30 divided by
7.5 degrees actually represents 15 degrees. Correct? That's the answer that was given. 17.
Half a minute. Half a degree. Okay.
In 15 minutes, it would have gone at that many degrees.
7.5 degrees.
Okay. How do you get there? Like, the other way of looking at it is let us look at this clock, right? So if you want your minute hand, what do you think the minute hand makes with respect to the 12 o'clock range, the 12 o'clock mark? What is the angle of the minute hand?
So 15 by 15 by 60 into 360.
90 degrees.
It's 90 degrees, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
3 hours to 90
What is the angle of our hand?
So 3 by 12 into 360.
So in 12 hours, which is essentially, what is this?
12 hours, it is 360 degrees.
720 hours. So 720 minutes. That's 12 hours. It actually moves 360 degrees. Correct? So in this case, it's actually 3 hours, which is 3 times 60 plus 15, which is 195. So in 195 minutes, how much will it move degree-wise? 97.5 degrees. Right? So the angle between the two will be equal to this. I mean, whichever way you take it, it's the same equation, how to get it. The only thing to note is that sometimes the angle can be more than 180 or less than 180, depending on how you see it. So if it's more than 180, you just have to do the reverse. Tom, it's I don't know where you got the 15 by 4. It's actually 15 by 2. If you look at the side, 7.5 degrees. Okay. All right. So this one's actually pretty simple to calculate. How does it work if you have the seconds in play?
Plus 90.
So if that's okay. But if I were to say what is the degree minutes and like 15 seconds.
So 7.5?
Nope. In those 15 seconds, the hour's hand would have moved a little more, right?
1 by 8.
The hour hand moves 1 by 128th degree per second.
So just like how we did this,
15 by 120th degree added to the 7.5 degrees.
Right. So in terms of seconds, right, the angle of second's hand is actually moving, it has moved 90 degrees in the 15 seconds, right? The angle of minute's hand actually would have moved in 15 minutes and 15 seconds. That's how many?
15 into 60 plus 15.
Correct. So that is 915 total. Right?
Right.
In 15 minutes. So in 60 seconds, not 60 seconds, in 3,600 seconds, it moves 360 degrees, correct?
Right.
Is it not?
So 1/10 of a degree, that's what it is.
It's by 10, correct, that is correct.
Yeah.
So for 915, it will actually move, the minute's hand would have moved. So which means that in 915 seconds, it would have moved 91.5 degrees. This is the minute's hand.
Yeah, correct.
So in this many seconds in a day, in that half-hour period, which is 43,200, this would have gone 360 degrees, right? So which means 3 times 3600 plus 15 times 60 plus 15. This is the number of seconds total. That's 11,715. Divided by 43200 multiplied by 360 equals 97,625. Okay, so the angle difference is actually 7.625. Is that what we got? PS, Ram, I think your answers are different. Ram's answer is correct by 1/8, right? Which makes sense. 1.25. You can look at it in different ways, and the math actually adds up pretty easily. So that's why the point 1/8 makes sense. But if you have arbitrary degrees, it becomes harder. So arbitrary seconds, it becomes harder. So that's why you probably have to derive it from first principles, and it just makes it super simple. Any concerns or questions on this one? Right, this is a silly question, but I like it. I've seen it used so many times. It's just people, because everybody has seen a watch, they know how it looks like. The basic logic is just to figure out how the hands move. Okay. So the next one is actually, this is not really a logic puzzle, but it's more a math puzzle. If you're given a coin with two sides, one has a number 1 and the other one has a number 2. You flip the coin 3 times. What is the probability that the sum of the numbers on the landing side is greater than 4? Anyone who solved this?
I came up with 50.
Is 1%? Yeah, half into 1.
50%, right?
Yeah, that's what I came up with. It's 50%.
Okay. Anybody else with a different answer? I know I'm hearing 25% because it's 1/4 is what I hear. Anybody with a different number?
50%.
50%. Yeah, I think we see 2 answers so far. 25%. Pamela came up with a 50%, and I think one more was with a 50% as well. So yeah, what are the numbers do we have?
Vivek, it's 50. 50.
Oh, sorry. Right, 50%. Good. Vish, anybody else? Gaurav says 1/4, which is 25%. Anybody else with a different number?
Vivek, if you don't mind, can you go back to the question, please?
Oh, absolutely. You should have the link to the blog is still there, so you should be able to look at it yourself, but I have it here. Go on. The question is, you're given a coin with two sides. One side has the number 1. You flip it 3 times. What is the probability that the sum of the numbers on the landing that are there? It could be a 0, right? It can't be 0. The minimum is 3.
It
can be a 4.
Actually, it's like it's the head and tail problem only. It's just that it's 1 and 2 instead of head and tail, or tail and head. So
but it's also addition.
Yeah, we just get all those like how we used to do in school, tail, head. Like if you flip, what are all the possibilities? Just take them and like designate number 1 and 2 instead, and make a count and check to find it out.
Yep, that's exactly what I think that's exactly the fastest. That's the best way of doing it. So this case, the sum is 3. 0 means 1 and 1 means 2. So in this case, it's what? 4. In this case, it's 4. In this case, it's 5. In this case, it's 4. In this case, it's 5. In this case, it's 5. And in this case, it's 6. Right? So the number of times it's actually, that's about it. So half the time it's actually 3 or 4, and half the time it's 5 or 6. So that's why it's actually 4 by 8, which is 1/4.
It's 50.
Oh, 1/2, sorry, 50%.
4 by 8 is half.
So what if, it's half. 4 by 8 is half. That's correct. So it's a pretty simple enumeration question. So let's not spend too much time there. Now, the next one is, I think it's a Die Hard question. I don't know if you've seen the Die Hard movie. They have this concept of you're given like an infinite water source and an empty tank where you can actually jettison the water. And what you're trying to do is that you're trying to calculate, how do you, your goal is that you're given a 3-liter jug and a 5-liter jug, and there's no marking, so you can actually only use full jugs. So the goal here is for you is to find out how to.
Yeah.
Go on, Navneet.
So basically, what you do is you fill the 5
So
liters.
let's start one at a time, right? If you need 3 liters, what would you do? Easy ones first.
There is the first jug. I will just fill it up and then
fill 3 and done, right?
Yeah.
If you need 5 liters, what will you do? Fill 5 and done.
The second jug, right?
If you need 8 liters, what will you do?
Both.
3.
Fill 5 and then a 3 and then you're done. If you need 6 liters, what will you do?
3
First
minus
one.
5
times 3.
First one 2 times,
3,
right?
3 2 times.
3. Yeah.
That's correct. Okay. If you need 9, what will you do?
3 times 3.
Okay. If you need 15, what will you do?
5 times 3.
5 3 times.
It can be 3 times 5 or 5 times 3, but you're trying to minimize the number of transfers. So it is actually, you would fill the 5-liter jug 3 times. Okay. All right. Now let's start with the funky ones. What about 2?
2 into 5 minus 3. So fill
So what
5.
you'll do is you will fill
5 minus 3, yeah.
Yeah.
You will fill the 5-liter, and then you will transfer it to the 3-liter. What you have left is the 2 liters in the 5-liter jug, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How will you do 7 liters?
5 plus 2.
5
5
plus
2. So
Okay.
do
So you do
5
liters,
5,
and then
3.
you do another 5, and then you take 3 away, and that becomes that. How will you do 1 liter?
3 plus 3
You do
minus
3
5?
3 and then take
So-
5.
You do 3
No,
liters.
5 plus
and
3
you do
minus.
No, you do 3 liters twice. That actually becomes 6, right?
Yeah, 6 minus 5. Yeah.
So you do 3 liters, then 5 liters, like.
But
3
this
liters,
assumes that you have 2 3-liter jugs, right? Or is it one?
No, only 1 3-liter jug. No. You fill the 3-liter jug first. You empty it in the 5-liter jug. Step 1. Then you again fill the 3 liter jug.
Okay. And
Now you try to empty it in the 5 liter jug. You can only put 2 there. You're left with 1. Okay. How will you do 4 liters? That's the question.
So you 5.
Repeat the 2 liters one twice.
Can you do? But you have to minimize the number of transfers. So how will you do it? Can you do better than that?
2 times 5 minus 2 times 3.
No.
2 5 liters minus 2 3 liters.
No. And the thing is that this also involves that you need to keep the water in the jug as well. Right? Your goal is to keep the 4 liters in the 5 liter jug.
Yeah, 4.
So you have to throw away from the 3 liter. Fill the 3 liter, fill the 5 liter.
Yeah, fill 3. Okay.
Yeah,
And then what do you do?
No, fill the 3, empty it into the 5.
Okay. The 5 liter is full.
No,
5 liter is not full. 5 liter has got space of 2.
Then you fill the
3 liter again.
3 again.
3 liter again.
Empty it in the 5.
Right.
5.
So 5 liter has 0 and 3 liter has 1 left.
1 left.
Empty the 5 liter. Pour the 1 liter into the 5.
Then throw this 3 liter, the 1 liter that is in the 3 liter.
Yeah, empty the 3 liter, the 1 liter in the 3 into 5.
And then you fill the 3 liter and add it to the 5 liter. Make sense? Okay.
How
So
is this different from the number of steps from the previous 2 liters plus 2 liters?
Yeah, the only thing is that you the way the 3 liters plus 2 liter thing works, I believe it may end up being the same thing. We're just doing it in a different angle.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that, or there's a possibility that you're actually using more like temporary storage space, because when you do the 5 and 3, what do you do with the 2 liters?
Okay.
Like, see, where do you keep the 2 liters? So if I take the 5 liter, so that's what. So you're assuming that you'll put the 2 liters in the empty tank, and then you can take the 2 liters back in the 5 liter jug. If your goal is to retain 5 liters in the 4 liters in a 5 liter jug, this is how you can do it. It's just the Die Hard movie actually has this example. The specific example is where they're given these 5 gallon and 3 gallon jugs, and they're given like a supply of water, and their goal is like, I think they need to defuse the bomb by measuring 4 liters exactly, and they don't have any other vessel. It's just they have a supply of water, and they can just toss it out on the street. That's all they can do.
Okay.
Okay. So
can you just walk through this one more time? Like you add 3 liter and then put it in the 5 liter.
So can someone else walk through this? Who can do that? Any volunteers? Any volunteers for explaining the 4 liter?
Yeah, I'll take that.
All right, Vishnu, go ahead.
Okay, so you start by filling the 3 liter jug and filling that into the 5 liter jug.
Okay.
You again fill the 3 liter jug and pour the content into the 5 liter jug, but now the 5 liter jug can take up only 3 liters. So the 5 liter jug will be full, there will be 1 liter left in the 3 liter jug.
Okay.
Empty the 5 liter jug now and pour that remaining 1 liter from the 3 liter jug into the 5. So now the 3 liter jug is empty and the 5 liter jug has 1 liter. And now fill up the 3 liter again and pour it into the 5 liter jug.
Okay.
That will empty the 3 liter jug and there will be 4 liters in the 5 liter jug.
Right.
I have that I think I just typed it up in the steps. So after the first step, you are fill the jug and empty, so you have 0,3, and then you have 1,5, and then you have 1,0.
You can get another solution by starting with the 5 liter jug also.
How do you do that? Go for it.
So you start with the 5 liter jug, you fill up the 5 liter jug.
Hang on. So first step is you fill up the 5 liter jug. So I have 0 and 5. Go on.
Then you fill the 3 liter jug from the 5 liter jug. So you have 2 liters left in the 5 liter jug.
Okay.
And then you empty the 3 liter jug, and then pour the 2 liters into the 3 liter jug.
To 2, 0. Go on.
Okay, and then Something is missing.
That's correct. Then you do 2 and 5, and then you have 3 and 4, and you're done.
3 and 4, and you're done. Yeah.
That works too.
Yeah.
It's not the same technique, but does that make sense?
So here, the advantage here is that you're just using only those 2 jugs, not the empty tank.
Yeah. Well, you're not tossing it out. In both cases, you're still doing the same thing, right? If I take the Vishnu's approach, right? What you did was you said so you start with 3, 0, and then you empty it, so you got 0, 3. Okay, then you got 3, 3, and then you got 1, 5, right? Then you got 1, 0. You're tossing the 5 away, and then you have 0, 1, and then you had 3, 1, and then you had 0, 4.
Right.
So there are 2 different ways of doing it, but I think the other way is better in terms of total number of transfers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 8 transfers, 6, 8 transfers.
So 5, 3 is better?
Yeah, start with the 5 and pour it actually is better,
better,
I think.
Okay.
Okay, in terms of just the number of transfers. Interesting. So one of the things that you can actually do is you can actually use, once you've calculated this, right, you can use dynamic programming to calculate the higher numbers, because the way you can actually go to f of n is actually to go to f of n minus 3 and then one more move to fill using 3 liters, right? It's actually 2 transfers. You fill the 3 and you empty the 3. So that's 2 transfers. Or it is actually f of n minus 5 plus 2, which is fill using 5 liters. And you just have to take a min of these 2. So if I want to calculate f of 95, for example, right? If I wanted to say what is the best way to fill 95 liters, how would you do it? I mean, you would probably, it's tempting for you to say, I'm going, not 95, like 94, which is like 5 is probably 94. It's tempting for you to say that I will actually fill 90 liters using like 18 times 5, right? And then I will go figure out how to do the 4, which is using the 8 steps on the top. But maybe there may be a better way to do the same thing, because you're probably better off going to like lesser numbers. It may be beneficial for you to do 91 plus 3 instead of 90 plus 4. Or you may be better off even doing 89 plus 5, as the case may be, depending on what
is
the best
something
way
like
to do it.
CONSOM problem?
This is something like, it's a dynamic programming problem, right? Because you're trying to get f of n minus 3 and minus, not really CONSOM, but close enough. It's in the same genre. So think of how this would work. This is how it relates to dynamic programming, but anyway. All right. The only other variation to this question which we will not cover is that if this was like in the case of water jugs, right, you had the ability to like simply arbitrarily transfer. But what if this was not like jugs and it was actually a sand clock, where you have the ability to like only turn the sand clock upside down every time, and your idea was to cook the vegetables like continuously for n minutes. You can't like start, stop. You have to continuously cook. Like if you have to do 4 minutes, you'll have to figure out how to do it. I mean, the way to do 4 minutes will be somehow you set the 1 minute on the 3 minute clock, and then you start the 1 minute clock and the 5 minute clock at the same time. And then once the 1 minute clock expires, you turn on the stove, and then you just let it cook for 4 minutes or something like that. I mean, it's going to be a little weird how to think about that. We're not going to cover that now, but that's something for you guys to think about. Okay? Moving on to the next question. This one's an interesting question. It's actually somewhat counterintuitive. So there's a city which contains 100,000 couples, but it could be 1 million, it could be 1 billion, it doesn't matter. And they start with no children. And every family is actually gender biased, so they want to have like at least one male in the family. So what they do is every year, every family will have a baby, and the moment if they have boy, then they'll stop for next year. They won't produce. But if they have a girl, they'll continue producing. So if you have a family of some family may have like 6 girls and 1 boy, some families may have 4 girls and 1 boy, and some families may have like 11 girls and then nothing or something, and no boys yet, and they'll continue producing next year. So like after some time, what do you expect the percentage of male to female child to be? That's the question.
50-50.
Why is it 50-50? Like would it be any other number? I see someone says 50-50. Anybody else with a different thought? Do you think there'll be more boys than girls, less boys than girls?
1:1.
50-50.
I would actually say that we'll have to make some assumptions here, because the percentage of boys versus girls would basically depend on what is the probability of having a girl child versus a boy child.
Yeah. Let's assume that's 50-50. I think the question actually says that. Assume that the children are equally likely to be born male or female. I anticipated that question. So what do you think it will be? Is it 50-50? Do you expect more girls than boys, or do you expect more boys than girls, or would you be even? Is there anyone who disagrees why it should be anything other than 50-50?
Given an indefinite period of time, I think it will trend towards 50-50.
Why would you say? Why do you need indefinite period of time?
Because we don't have a time period here.
No, why do you need indefinite period of time? What happens after year 1?
100,000 families.
After year 1, what happens? How many boys are born?
50,000.
Because 100,000 families, right? Ram, no, we are not counting deaths. We're just counting births. So at the end of year 1, we have 50,000 boys and 50,000 girls, correct? So it's 50-50 at the end of year 1. You don't have to wait for indefinite period. What happens in year 2? The boy families stop.
75,000.
Boys have stopped.
75,000.
Okay, so 50,000 boys will remain 50,000 boys of 1 year old, and then all the 50,000 girls, they will actually have 25,000 additional boys, and then they'll have 25,000 additional girls plus the 50,000 original girls that we had in the first round. So that's what? 75K and 75K. Right?
Vivek?
So it's 1:1 again.
But per family, 1 baby per year, right?
1 baby per family per year, correct.
Yeah. So then 50,000 babies per year. So then 25,000.
No, 100,000 babies per year.
No. First time 100,000. Second year only 50,000 babies.
How come 100,000?
100,000 families.
First year there are 100,000 families, right?
Okay.
See, first year there are 100,000 families are there. So 50,000 girls are born and 50,000 boys are born, right? That's year 1. That's B1 and G1. In the second year, only the 50,000, the G1 families will actually produce. So that will be B2 will be 25,000, G2 will be 25,000, right? So B1, G1.
I couldn't get it.
If you're looking
first
at
year, 50,000.
So B1 boys in the first year. B1 is 50,000, correct?
Yeah.
What is the girls in the first year?
50,000.
50,000. Okay. What about the second year? How many boys in the second year will be?
25K boys and 25K girls.
Okay, and add that to the original total that we had, right? First year was 50,000 boys and first year 50,000 girls. So total at the end of year 2 will be 75,000 boys and 75,000 girls, right?
Girls.
Okay. What about third year? So you'll have 75K from the previous years of boys, plus you will have 25,000 divided by 2, which is like 12.5K, right?
Yeah.
Again, boys, that's B3, and 12.5K, G3, and so on. So every year, the number of boys born is the same as the number of girls born, and you're going to add it to the total before. Every time it is the same. So net of it is that every year you're only adding the same number of boys and girls to the overall population.
Okay.
Okay, counterintuitive, a little counterintuitive, because when you originally look at this problem, right, it looks like as if you look at some family, they'll have 10 girls and 1 boy, some families will have 11 girls and 1 boy, and so on. So it may feel as if there will be more number of girls than boys. That may be the intuitive thing to look at, but actually it turns out to be that they're actually equal if you do the math. Right?
I read the question completely. Now I understood.
Okay.
Thank you.
7th question. A man has 3 daughters. A second man who's intelligent asks the ages of his daughters, and the first man says that the product of his daughter's age is 36. Okay? So the question 1 is, let me just clear up this thing. So question 1 is, product is 36. The second question is that the sum of their ages is his house number. Okay, and the third question is, he still can't answer. The third clue is that his youngest daughter has blue eyes. So he found the answer. What do you think is the answer?
236.
236. The product is what? Is 36?
36, right? Yeah.
Okay. And why do you think? But what is the sum of the door numbers? That is 6 plus 3, 9 plus 2, 11. So if she should know that the door number is 11, then he would know the answer, right? Why did you the third question?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, right? What's the house number? Does it matter? I don't think so.
It does. The second question makes a difference. See, why was he able to answer it after the third question and not after the second question?
His answer is wrong. I think because he says youngest, so the combinations are 236, 433, 229. But in the other, there are 2.
There's more, right? It could be 136 for whatever it's worth. It could be 1 to 18.
Most of them have like 2 youngest, but youngest is...
No, why can't it be 1 to 18?
1 to 18. Oh, yeah. I missed that one. Okay.
Oh, there's a lot more. 1, 4, 9.
Okay, then I missed something. Okay,
1, 3, 1, 2, we did that 1, 3, 12. A lot of options.
Yeah, a lot of options.
Okay. Anybody else?
Is this more of a general knowledge question because the youngest daughter having blue eyes has something to do with it?
No, it is not.
Oh, thank God.
People who are born in even numbered years actually have greater probability. No, that's not the answer.
No. Is it something to do like blue eyes are very rare? Or
No. You could have easily changed the question to say my youngest daughter likes pineapple ice cream.
So what's with the house number then?
So the youngest one tells you that, like, that the age of the youngest daughter is different from the other 2 daughters.
The other 2 daughters. That is correct.
So it could be 166.
It could be 166. Correct. But why does it matter?
But the youngest daughter having blue eyes does not necessarily mean that it is different than the other, right?
What one thing I say that because he has 3 daughters, like maybe the difference is at least 1. We can go with that. Proves that he doesn't have any twins.
Is it more of testing whether there is we identify whether there's enough data provided in the question? Is this more like a data sufficiency kind of a problem?
It is a data sufficiency problem. As in the first product, the first information, right? So let's go one step at a time. Just because the product is 36, right? What are the possible ages? It could be 1, 1, 36, correct?
Right.
It could be 1, 2, 18.
Right.
It could be 1, 3, 12.
1, 4, 9.
1, 4, 9.
166.
166 and?
That's it.
No, there's more. 2.
Oh, like that. Okay, yeah.
2 to 9.
2 to 9.
2, 1 is not possible. So 2 to 9. What else?
2, 2, 3,
so 3,
2, 4, 6.
2,
3, 6.
Or 2, 3, 6, correct?
And
2, that's it. 3.
Yeah.
3, 3, 4.
3, 3, 4.
What else? That's it.
And
now
3, 2, 6. Okay, we're starting from the lowest and going up, right?
Yeah. So this is it, right? So what is the sum of the three ages in the first case? Sum of the three ages?
21.
Yeah. Sum of the three ages?
16. 14.
14.
13. 13 again.
13.
11. And 10.
Okay. So now if you say the sum is house number, presumably he knows the house number.
He should be.
Okay. If he knows the house number, he will be able to figure out the answer unless
he does not know the house number.
He knows the house number.
116 or 2.
And the house number is 13.
116 and 229.
That's why I'm not able to find out, right?
Okay, that's the only repetition happening.
That is the only case where the repetition happens.
Right.
Okay, and now I'm saying my youngest daughter has blue eyes. What does it mean?
It's unique.
It excludes 2 to 9.
No, my question is why does it exclude 2 to 9?
Because then I don't have a youngest daughter. Both my youngest daughters have, is what I should say. There is no youngest if they are the same age.
And this blue eyes need not be the same across twins.
That's okay. But that's not youngest, right? Then there's no youngest. The whole point is if I said my youngest daughter likes pineapple ice cream, just simply means that there is a unique youngest.
Words basically point to a single youngest daughter.
That is correct. That means that the two younger ones actually have different ages is all it means.
Got it.
So the only two possibilities are 166 and 229. And hence, since the fact that you said it's the youngest, that means it should be 166. And the same question can be flipped around to say my eldest daughter likes pineapple ice cream would make the 229 answer as the real answer, which works the same way.
Why did sorry I missed it? Why did we exclude all these?
Because they all have unique sums. So presumably they know the house number, right? So if you say that the addition of everybody is a house number, and if my house number is 14, then it's 149. I don't have to even think about it.
Okay.
So the only case where you still don't know the answer after second step is when the age is 13, when the addition is 13 or the house number is 13. I have no idea why somebody will ask this question, but if they ask, this is how to think about it. It's just it's more of a brain twister than anything else. Okay. All right. Let's see. I think we may have like time for one more quick one. Shoot. Let's do the 9th question. Okay. So you have a race with 25 horses, and you have a track that can only race 5 horses at a time. Okay. So how would you race them in the minimum number of races to find the top 3 horses? And assume that the horses will automatically figure out, you'll know which one's first and which one's second, which one's third. It'll always matter. The fastest horse will be faster every time.
Minimum 6.
6 races. How will you do it in 6 races?
So 5 different races.
So you have, I'm running, I have horses A through whatever, so A1 through A5 goes in the first race, B1 through B5 goes in the second race, okay? C1 through C5 goes in the third race, D1 through D5 goes in the fourth race, E1 through E5 goes in the fifth race. Easy. And A1 is the winner of the first race, A5 is the loser of the first race. So done. What would my 6th race be?
Between the winners of all the 5 races.
So I pit A1, I pit B1 and so on, okay? Let us say A1, B1 and C1 won. What does that tell you?
You mean to say in the respective heats or in the final race?
No, in the final race. Let's say A, B, C won in the same order. A1 came first, B1 came second, C1 came third, and so on. What does it mean?
That only tells about A1, but we still have to explore the others.
That's correct, right? A2 could be faster than B1 and C1 as well. There's no guarantee, right? So 6 races is not enough, I guess. Is it not?
25 C3, yeah.
Not really. I think you can do it in better than that. Go on.
25 C5.
Well, I mean, that's a lot of races. You don't need that many probably, right?
Yeah.
Maybe first three from, so to pick from each race three winners, and then out of that we have to do again.
Okay.
Because eliminate 2 from each race, something like that.
So you have eliminated 2. So every race eliminates 2 people.
Yeah.
Is what you're saying. So at the minimum, right? Every race eliminates 2 people. So if you have 25 races and you want to eliminate 22 out of that, you may need 11 races. Is what the theory is. Can you do better than that? Like there is no chance for A4 and A5 to win, right? So you don't need 25 C3.
Yeah. So I think you do first 5 races, right? And among them you get 5 winners, A, B, C, D, E, right?
I mean, I'm just doing first race is A1, A2, A3 are the 1, 2, 3 in the first race. B1, B2, B3 are the 1, 2, 3 in the second race, and so on. You have that.
Right. And then C1, C2, C3, and then D4, D1, D2, D3, and
Right.
So on, right? So then you basically run the A1s versus the B1s versus the C1s versus the D1s and versus the
Correct.
E1s.
We did that. And let's say A1 came first, B1 came second, C1 came third. So
right.
and D1 and E1 lost.
Eliminate D1s and E1s. The whole E1 and the D rows and the E rows are gone, right?
Correct.
Because
so you still have
even the C can be eliminated.
Say again?
Even the C can be eliminated. The entire set of C.
No, why do you think C2 will make it? C2's performance has been poorer than C1, right?
No, that's
Is C2 not eliminated?
Once we know that A1, B1 and C1 are the top 3 in the 6th race, groups from C1 till E5 can be eliminated.
No, C2 can be eliminated. C1 cannot be eliminated.
That's it. Everything from C2 onwards till E5 can be eliminated.
C2 can be eliminated. C3 can be eliminated. D1 to D3, D5 can be eliminated. E1 to E5 can be eliminated. And essentially C2 to C5 can be eliminated. You've done, okay?
That's what I was saying.
Okay, now you have 6 horses left. Which is A1, A2, A3, B1, B2, B3, and C1.
Wait.
Not this one. Yeah.
But you already know what the fastest one is, right? Because
so A4, A5 is eliminated, right? In the first race you eliminated A4, A5.
Yes, but you also know which is the fastest one because it's also race 6. So you can eliminate that also and then run. Let's say A1 won the 6th race also, right?
Correct. So A1 is in. You know that A1 is in.
Yeah, and then you all you have with A2, A3.
I gave out the answer there. That's why I'm saying that these 6 are remaining, right? Now you know that you don't know which of these 6. You can't do it in one race.
Okay. Vivek, I don't get it.
Go ahead.
No,
What's your question?
I'm not able to follow this logic. If you only 2 from each.
Let's take one step at a time. Okay. We did race 1 where we raced horses A1 through A5.
Right.
We got A1, A2 came second, A3 came third. So A4, A5 cannot be the answer. We eliminated them, correct?
That is my point. Why are we eliminating them? Because we don't know whether B1 is actually slower than A4 or not.
Doesn't matter, right? If B1 is slower than A4, then still the answer will be A1, A2, A3. We are only finding the top 3 horses.
Okay.
We want the 3 fastest horses, right? So A4 cannot be in the 3 fastest horses at all, ever.
Okay, so you are saying out of the remaining sets of 3, you are taking all the first ones and doing the 6th race.
That is correct. I mean, yeah, that's what we are doing.
Okay, got
so
it.
In the second one, you are eliminating B4 and B5. In the third one, you are eliminating C4 and C5 because after 6 races, you are eliminated at the bottom 2 horses from every race because they cannot possibly be the number ones. Then in the 6th race, you have actually picked all the winners of the first 5 races, and then as a part of that, you figured out that D1 and E1 are the last ones. Okay. And since D1 and E1 are the last ones, everything from D, like D2 is also cannot be the winner, cannot be in the top 3.
Right.
E2 cannot be in the top 3, E1 cannot be in the top 3. So those things have been eliminated. Okay. And C2, the best C2 can do is like C2 is still slower than C1. So which means that even if you find that B2, B3, A3 are faster, they will by definition be faster than C1.
Right.
So which means that C2 also eliminated. So we are in the 6th race, we have eliminated all of them. And at this point of time, we know that A1 is in for sure. A1 is definitely the fastest of the fast horse.
Right.
So that is in. Okay. What we don't know yet is there are 6 horses left right now. We have to find the best 2 of these 6 horses, right?
Even B3, right? Isn't B3 eliminated too?
Why?
So we know that A1 is faster than the B1, right? And B1 is faster
Correct.
than B2. So then B3 doesn't have a chance because B2 and B3 are faster than it. So
That
all
is
we need
correct.
to do is run the 5 horses.
Right. So
That's correct.
Race to be run.
So 7th race is between. That's the trick. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I purposefully left B3 in so that is the logic to exclude B3 is that B3 cannot be in the top 3 because A1 is guaranteed to be in, and there are definitely 2 horses that are faster than B3. Right? B1 and B2 are guaranteed to be faster. So which means B3 cannot make the cut anyways. So you will take A2, A3, B1, B2 and C1 and run the horses in the 7th race, and as a part of the 7th race you'll be able to figure it out. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Alright, this is just a fun session. We have 2 more questions which are there. 8, we didn't do 8 and we didn't do 10. I think I'll leave it as exercise. If you guys have any questions, we can talk about those because I really don't want to do one more session of this next week. It doesn't make sense to carry over. So the 8th question and the 10th question, they both are actually interestingly different. But again, in the interest of time, let me just skip those. Any questions on the questions that we have discussed so far, like 1 through 7 and 9?
Vivek, I have a question. So,
go ahead, Achin.
On the question number 4. So for this one, we did based on actual. We wrote the actual combinations. But let's say it's the number of. Let's say we did 30 times, not 3 times. Then what I would like I was trying to solve it, but I think I didn't get it right. Or then how I will go based on the probability method? Can we do that?
I think it's going to be hard. So essentially, if you're looking at 30 times, right? So
Yeah.
Imagine that it had actually 0 and 1 instead of 1 and 2. Let's say it had zeros and ones. Okay. So essentially, this looks like for every combination, it's a 30-bit number, and you're actually doing count bits. Right?
Which one are we on the same question? I'm talking about the question 4.
Yeah, the sides of coins, right? Coins are number 1 and number 4.
Yeah.
Right. So instead of the heads being 1 and tails being 2, let us say it was 0 and 1, not 1 and 2. It just is the same thing, but just math-wise it's a little off. Right?
Okay.
Then imagine and you said you're going to toss the coin 30 times, right?
Yeah.
That becomes a 30-bit number. Because it's zeros and ones. It's a 30-bit binary number.
Oh, yeah.
Then you're just running count bits on it and figuring out where the sum of the bits is actually greater than so whatever the k is. In this case, the k was 4, so it's actually 4 minus 3 because it's 3 times. So you're actually saying where the count bits is greater than or equal to 2 is what you're trying to figure out in this case. So it's just a different. You could usually it goes through enumeration essentially.
Okay. So yeah, that's one way. I don't know if you can help me with that, but what I was thinking that I wanted to see if that's a solution possibility and how it will lead to. So like if I go by probability, like the first one I have half probability of getting 2. Like that, if I multiply for 30 times, then how will I approach through that kind of method? Is it a possibility?
That was basically that. Yes, you can, but the way you have to do that is actually different. So what you should do is that let's assume that you're doing a 30-bit number, and you're trying to figure out the probability of the sum being greater than, like, say, 15, right? That's what you want to find out.
Yeah.
Correct? So essentially, what is the total number of combinations that are possible? It's 2 power 30? That's a denominator?
Yeah, denominator.
What is the numerator? The numerator is actually how many ways can you get 15 bits? Greater than 15 means that 16 out of the 30 bits have to be 1, right?
Can you explain that part again?
I'm on quarter pad, the pad window, line 42.
Sorry.
16 bits out of the 30 bits have to be 1 for the total to be 16, correct?
16 out of 30 bits have to be 1. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's how the total can be 16. And how many ways, how many numbers exist where 16 bits are actually 1? That's actually choose NC 30C16.
16 plus 30C17 plus.
The 30C16, right?
Okay, so numerator will be that, and then
but not the 16. Plus 30C17.
All the way.
Combinations of the 30 choose 16.
Okay.
You have to pick 16 bits, 16 of those bits to set it to 1 for it to be there, right? So plus 30C18 plus 30C19 plus so on up to 30C30. Okay, that divided by 2 power 30 is the answer. That's it. That's a mathematical way of doing it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But it's a good thought. I mean, I like the fact that you've actually been thinking about it. Good. Each of these questions is supposed to trigger the thought process in you. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Then you use Stirling's approximation.
All right. So what I'm going to do is, I think we are well over time, so I'm going to terminate the recording here, and then we can definitely hang back and have more conversations. All right. Thank you all for this session, and please stay back if you have more conversations and discussions.